TVs have been getting thinner and thinner for decades, with the ultimate goal seemingly to make a paper-thin display. With LG's OLED G7P, we've finally done it, and all without sacrificing picture quality as was once the case. Hey everybody, it's Nick from Android Headlines, and this is our review of the LG OLED G7P. There's been a lot of talk about OLEDs in 2017. The technology is nothing new, and LG certainly didn't pioneer it, but it has pushed OLEDs further than ever in the TV space, delivering a range of high-end TVs that absolutely blow the competition away in almost every single measurement we have. Today we're taking a look at the 65-inch G7P, a unit that retails for anywhere between $5,000 and $7,000 and the 77-incher ups that to anywhere between $10,000 and $14,000 too. It's certainly difficult to see these numbers, but the great part about LG's lineup is that all the sizes and models have the exact same quality OLED panel with the same picture quality, so if it's excellent picture quality you want, LG likely has a TV for you. Let's check out what makes the G7P special when compared to other TVs out there. That show-stopping LG OLED panel, a built-in 4.2-channel Dolby Atmos soundbar that transforms into a wall mount or stand, and a picture-on-glass design that's sure to blow the minds of anyone who walks in your door. Since design and sound options are truly what set apart all the different TVs in LG's OLED line, let's take a look at those first. This TV is simply amazing to look at. It's thinner than most phones by a good margin. At only 2.57 millimeters thick, it's essentially paper thin at this point, and it's hard to believe we could ever get something thinner than this. For note, the thinnest smartphone out there is at least double this thickness, and the average smartphone is at least triple. It's also got almost no bezel around the display, with the OLED panel itself resting on a large sheet of glass behind it to stabilize the whole thing. The glass protrudes just slightly over each edge, giving it an elegant frame that looks straight out of a modern art gallery. Even the back has a really interesting pattern if you were ever to look at the back of a TV anyway, and shows that LG has worked to make this a stunning design in every way. Below the panel is a 4.2-channel Dolby Atmos soundbar that doubles as a stand and a wall mount. The soundbar is hooked onto the panel via a fairly small mounting brace at the bottom and cannot be removed from the panel itself. It's fastened in place via 4 large bolts, so it's not going anywhere anytime soon. My biggest complaint here is that there's a lot of plastic everywhere, which is obviously done to keep the weight down, as a pure metal stand would be obnoxiously heavy. As the TV weighs about 70 pounds or 31 kilograms in total, it's certainly a lot heavier than your average LCD TV without a doubt. It still comes off feeling a little bit cheap though, although it does not look cheap. It's all down to the design though, as the glass can only get so light and the stand where the guts of the TV are located is packed with electronics. The soundbar here is beautiful and would look perfect sitting next to a PS4 or other modern piece of electronics. The mauve color with gold highlights looks stunning and unique, setting it apart from the usual black and silver colors used in home theater equipment. The audio quality coming from it is rather good too, and is way better than your average TV speaker set. This set of speakers outputs at 60 watts with a built-in 20-watt subwoofer to boot. By nature, Dolby Atmos wraps the entire room in sound. This soundbar has speakers that point both outwards and up, which bounces the sound around the room in a virtual fashion. A quick calibration on the TV optimizes this sound for your room using the included Magic Remote, which we'll cover in a minute. This isn't going to replace a really good home theater system, but it's not necessarily designed to. By providing a better option than the usual junk speakers TVs ship with, you can enjoy late-night surround audio without waking the kids or the neighbors up, or you can sync the soundbar with your existing surround system to add an Atmos level of surround without buying a whole new set. There's an optical out or an HDMI ARC port for these functions. This gives you the Atmos height sound all while keeping your better existing surround speakers and external subwoofer. The TV supports all the way up to lossless Dolby Atmos True HD sound too, so you're set no matter what you've got. Now that we covered what's different, let's look at the panel itself. As said before, all of LG's OLED TVs share the same quality panel, so this section applies to any of the other OLED TVs from LG too. Here's the bottom line. If you're looking for the best picture quality on the market right now, these are the line of TVs to get. There's been a lot of negative press about LG's mobile OLED displays, but these are not the same OLEDs that go into LG's mobile phones. There's no widespread uniformity issues like we've seen on those panels, and no graininess either. What you're left with are all of the positive of OLED displays without the negatives we've seen on those mobile panels. First up is the contrast ratio and black levels. As should be expected at this point with so many OLED displays on the market, LG's OLED TVs display perfect blacks with an infinite contrast ratio. This is because individual pixels can be turned off when needed, and with over 8 million pixels on the display, you'll never see a scene that looks washed out due to the poor contrast ratios that LCDs have. Plasmas may have been the king of contrast on modern TVs, but this is a whole new level. Because the black levels are so good, HDR content looks that much better too. All current HDR standards are supported, all the way from the broadcast HLG standard that was just finalized, to the popular HDR10 standard, and all the way up to Dolby Vision top-end standard too. LG has provided a number of different picture modes to use here, and while the standard one is a little too cool for my liking and has way too many processing options enabled, the Technicolor preset looks phenomenal even without the need for tweaking. Those that want to add a little HDR effect to standard dynamic range content can use the faux HDR mode, which attempts to widen the dynamic range of standard content by processing the imagery more like an HDR image with static metadata. LG is working on additional picture modes with Technicolor as well, including a new advanced HDR mode set to upscale SDR content into HDR-like territory, likely better than what's already offered. See our written review for the settings we used and what we recommend. Like the picture quality itself, viewing angles are simply off the charts. Let's take my living room for example. I got this chair over to the side of the TV that you would normally never use to watch TVs, as the picture from this angle would usually be pretty horrible. Because of the ultra-wide viewing angles of the G7P and other LG OLED displays, you can watch from this ridiculous angle and still get the full color and black levels without sacrifice. It's pretty surreal. There's also a really nice anti-glare coating on the panel that features a textured purple hue that dissipates glare way better than any TV I've ever owned without a doubt. Upscaling is really great, and there's really only a tiny bit of haloing on old standard definition content, but 720p and up looks absolutely perfect. 24p playback is available for 24Hz Blu-ray junkies, and 444 chroma mode is available for turning this into the ultimate PC monitor, making text and other fine objects ultra sharp. Now how about Burnin, you wonder? Well, I did a test where I pulled up Chrome on my PC and I left it at the same page for an hour. Even after this and pulling up a 50% gray image, I was not able to see any burn-in on the panel whatsoever. Now, that doesn't mean there's no burn-in, and if you have something on the screen long enough, OLED panels can definitely burn in. LG builds in a number of different technologies to keep pixels shifting and to try to prevent burn-in a little bit. There's also a thing LG calls the pixel refresher, which will run something for about an hour to try to age the pixels to the same level. Now recently, Samsung issued a statement saying that they're not going to put OLED on TVs because of the burn-in issue, and I'm going to call them out on that here. The last TV I had was a 2011 Samsung Plasma, and this thing had burn-in way worse than anything I've seen on an OLED panel, especially LG's OLED TVs. If you had the same image on the TV for a couple of minutes, it would be burned into the panel for a while, and a couple of hours would take at least a day for it to come out of that plasma. Thus far, I don't see any of the same symptoms, so I would say unless there's an extreme circumstance, you don't have to worry about burn-in on this panel in the long term. Onto the software front, all of LG's OLED TVs are powered by WebOS 3.5. Yep, that's the same WebOS originally made by Palm, but it looks a lot different now than it did back on the Palm Pre. The interface is largely card-based still, this time with a horizontal scrolling row of apps and inputs, which appear as an overlay when the home button is pressed. All the animations are smooth, loading is super quick, and everything just feels great here. The home screen can be customized to your liking, and all inputs and other labels can be changed too. Changing the names of the inputs is particularly important if you're looking for the chroma mode, as choosing the icon that looks like a PC unlocks this mode. Otherwise, you can set the picture to game mode to cut the input lag in half, dropping it from the average 40 to 60 milliseconds in standard picture modes, way down to a fantastic 20 milliseconds in game or PC mode. This is going to be a big deal for those of you that love first-person shooters and other Twitch games. LG's app situation is a mixed bag though, and while the Netflix, YouTube, and Vudu apps offer everything you could think of, from 4K streaming to Dolby Vision HDR and Dolby Atmos sound, apps like Amazon and Google Play Movies suffer from the inability to play HDR content, as well as not even being able to stream 4K content. The Google Play Movies app in particular is just junk. Not only does it stream in sub-HD quality, but you can't even flip through the timeline with the remote. If you want the best quality streaming from some services, you're just going to have to hook up a PC or another streaming stick to get it. It's kind of ridiculous. There's a pretty nice Chromium-based browser included, and while performance isn't exactly great, in the end, this ends up being an excellent way to stream content that might otherwise need an app to do, like streaming from the PBS website, for instance. Once the video is in full screen, you'd never know it wasn't coming from a native app or source. Now back to the remote itself. The Magic Remote, as LG calls it, works very much like a Wii remote in that moving it around physically moves a cursor on the screen. This is by far the best way to interact with anything on the TV, and it just feels great too. There's even nice little nuances like pausing the movement when you click, making typing and selecting things significantly easier. The buttons are a nice rubberized texture, and many of the elements are raised and feel high quality. As a bonus, LG includes a secondary smaller controller that's not nearly as complicated, and both feature that luxurious looking gold aluminum trim. On the top here, you're going to find a microphone, which can be used as a universal search function. You can voice search for just about anything, and it'll populate all the services that have that video, as well as some internet searches if it can't find exactly what you're looking for. It works rather well, and the noise cancellation on the microphone is actually really nice and picked up my voice even with quite a bit of background noise. There's a lot here to show the care LG put into the TV itself, and the overall quality of the experience, picture, and sound prove that LG's got what it takes to make the absolute best TVs in the industry. Is the G7P worth the $5 to $7 grand you're going to drop on it? If you want the masterful design and the excellent built-in stand and soundbar, this is the only way to get it. If you're just looking for the best display out there with the same ability to output the top-tier Atmos True HD audio and don't want to drop so much, LG's B or C series might be more your style. Either way, this is the best TV lineup of the year with unrivaled image quality and a design to kill. Everything looks better on this TV, and that's something you can absolutely count on. We hope you enjoyed that review and will subscribe to us for regularly updated content. Chat with us on your favorite social media network, and don't forget to check out AndroidHeadlines.com for 24/7 tech news coverage. Thanks for watching, and until next time.